As we approach the winter of 2025-2026, anticipation and uncertainty are in the air. Across cities and countrysides, people are preparing for what could be a season unlike any other in recent memory. The usual routines, digging out warm coats, checking heating systems, and planning for holiday travel, are tinged with a sense of unease, as experts warn that this winter may not follow the familiar script. Meteorologists are closely monitoring the stratosphere where the polar vortex, a swirling mass of cold air high above the Arctic, could face a rare early disruption called a sudden stratospheric warming, or SSW. This phenomenon, while not unheard of, is unpredictable and can have dramatic consequences for weather patterns far beyond the polar regions. This event, showing up in forecast models for November or December, could override typical La Niña-driven patterns and unleash Arctic air into regions usually spared from deep cold. Instead of the gradual predictable shifts we expect, we could see sudden plunges in temperature, with icy blasts reaching deep into the heart of continents. The risk: prolonged cold snaps that strain energy grids, disrupt travel, and challenge communities. When the polar vortex weakens, it can send waves of frigid air southward, catching cities off guard, and making it difficult for infrastructure to keep up. These conditions threaten public safety, even if the overall winter appears average or mild on paper. Emergency services may be stretched thin, and vulnerable populations could face heightened risks from exposure and power outages. While seasonal forecasts may suggest a smooth ride, the real story could be sudden, severe weather swings. One week might bring unseasonable warmth, only to be followed by a rapid freeze and heavy snowfall, making it difficult for anyone to plan ahead. Understanding this stratospheric drama is key to being prepared. Scientists are working tirelessly to interpret the signals from the upper atmosphere, hoping to give communities the information they need to stay safe and resilient. Will the polar vortex weaken and let frigid air spill south, or stay strong and keep the cold locked away in the Arctic? The answer could determine whether millions experience a relatively calm winter or face a season of extremes. Let's explore the science behind this forecast, the tools meteorologists use to predict these dramatic shifts, and what it could mean for North America and Europe as we brace for an unsettled winter ahead. To grasp this winter's forecast, we need to understand sudden stratospheric warming, or SSW. Despite the name, SSWs don't warm the surface. Instead, they often trigger severe cold. SSWs occur when atmospheric waves, like Rossby waves, break in the stratosphere, causing temperatures to spike by up to 50 degrees in days. This disrupts the polar vortex, sometimes splitting it apart. The real impact comes as this disruption descends into the troposphere, where our weather happens. A weakened vortex can no longer contain Arctic air, allowing it to surge southward. This can flip the jet stream into a wavy, amplified pattern, sending frigid air and snow far from the pole. SSWs are a powerful link between high-altitude events and ground-level weather. That's why forecasters watch them so closely. When we talk about the polar vortex, we're actually referring to two closely linked but distinct systems swirling above the Arctic. The first is the stratospheric polar vortex, or SPV, which spins high above the Earth's surface, forming a vast, cold and persistent ring of winds in the stratosphere. This upper-level vortex acts as a kind of atmospheric fortress, trapping frigid air over the polar region and separating it from the milder air to the south. Closer to the ground, we find the tropospheric polar vortex. This system is more familiar to us, as it's the one that interacts directly with our daily weather. The tropospheric vortex is defined by the polar jet stream, a fast-moving river of air that circles the globe and acts as a boundary between cold Arctic air and warmer southern air masses. When the SPV is strong and stable, it keeps the coldest air bottled up in the Arctic. The jet stream remains relatively flat and zonal, which means it flows smoothly from west to east. This setup tends to bring milder, more predictable winter weather to much of North America, Europe, and Asia, as the cold air stays locked away far to the north. The tropospheric vortex, meanwhile, is the main architect of our day-to-day weather patterns. Its strength and shape determine whether we experience calm, mild conditions, or turbulent, stormy weather. But when the SPV is disrupted, often by a dramatic event called a sudden stratospheric warming, or SSW, the entire system can unravel. The jet stream weakens and begins to meander, developing large north-south waves. These undulations allow frigid Arctic air to spill southward, sometimes reaching areas that rarely see such cold. This breakdown is known as the negative phase of the Arctic Oscillation. It's a pattern that often triggers major cold outbreaks, blizzards, and extreme winter weather events across the mid-latitudes. A striking example occurred in 2021 when a powerful SSW in January set off a chain reaction. The jet stream became wildly distorted, and a surge of Arctic air plunged deep into the southern United States. Texas, a state unaccustomed to such cold, was hit by a historic freeze, with snow and ice paralyzing cities and leaving millions without power. The state of the stratospheric vortex is like the engine room for all of winter's drama. Its stability or instability sets the stage for everything that happens below, from gentle snowfalls to record-shattering cold snaps. When the SPV falters, the weathermaker below, the tropospheric vortex, can unleash chaos, sending storms and cold waves far beyond their usual boundaries. That's why meteorologists and forecasters keep such a close eye on the health of the SPV. By monitoring its strength and behavior, they can anticipate potential disruptions and better predict when and where severe winter weather might strike. Ultimately, the intricate connection between the stratosphere and troposphere can define the character of an entire winter, shaping everything from gentle flurries to unforgettable cold waves. This winter's outlook is a tale of two forecasts. Official seasonal predictions like NOAA's suggest a classic La Niña pattern, warmer in the south, colder in the north. But stratospheric experts warn that an early SSW could override these averages, bringing weeks of extreme cold. The key: a mild winter overall doesn't rule out a brutal cold snap. Think of it as a warm pool with a sudden icy plunge. The real challenge is communicating that risk. One severe event can define the season. That's why it's vital to look beyond averages and prepare for volatility. The heightened risk of a stratospheric disruption this winter comes from two major climate drivers. First, a developing La Niña in the Pacific tends to weaken the polar vortex, making SSWs more likely. La Niña promotes atmospheric waves that can disrupt the stratosphere. Second, the quasi-biennial oscillation, or QBO, will be in its easterly phase, historically linked to a weaker vortex and more SSWs. When La Niña and an easterly QBO align, the odds of a major SSW rise sharply. This perfect storm of background conditions has experts on high alert. The atmosphere is primed for turbulence. That's why this winter's forecast is so unusual. This year, models hint at an exceptionally rare early SSW, possibly in November or December. If it happens, the polar vortex could recover, only to be hit again later in winter. This double-dip scenario means two major SSWs in one season, each unleashing fresh waves of Arctic cold. Historically, such winters are among the most severe, with relentless cold snaps and only brief respites. While still unlikely, the risk is real enough to warrant serious attention. A double dip could make this winter one of the most volatile in memory. Even a single early SSW would be a game changer. Forecasters are watching for signs of this rare pattern. Long-range forecasts are always uncertain, and this winter is no exception. The European ECMWF model strongly signals an early SSW, while the American GFS model predicts a stable vortex and a typical La Niña winter. This model disagreement highlights the atmosphere's unpredictability. Even if an SSW occurs, its effects must propagate down to the surface to matter. Historically, only about two-thirds of SSWs actually trigger major cold at ground level. The strength and persistence of the event are crucial. A weak SSW might have little impact. As winter approaches, forecasters will watch for clearer signals. For now, uncertainty remains high. If a major sudden stratospheric warming, or SSW, event couples with the troposphere, North America and Europe could experience some of the most dramatic and unpredictable weather swings in recent memory. These events have the power to disrupt typical winter patterns, sending shock waves through the atmosphere that can be felt thousands of miles away. The effects can unfold rapidly, catching even seasoned meteorologists off guard and challenging communities to adapt quickly. In the US, for example, Arctic air could surge deep into the southern states, bringing rare and sometimes record-breaking freezes and snow to places like Texas and the Gulf Coast. These regions, unaccustomed to such cold, can face significant disruptions. Schools and businesses may close, roads become treacherous, and power grids can be strained by the sudden demand for heating. Meanwhile, the Midwest and Northeast could see wild temperature swings, with periods of unseasonable warmth quickly replaced by major snowstorms and icy blasts. This volatility can make it difficult for cities to prepare, as one week might bring melting snow and rain, while the next delivers blizzard conditions and dangerous wind chills. The northern plains and western Canada, already known for their harsh winters, could endure even more persistent cold and heavy snow. Extended periods of frigid temperatures can impact agriculture, transportation, and daily life, making it crucial for residents to stay vigilant and prepared for long-lasting winter conditions. In Europe, an SSW often triggers what's known as a beast from the east pattern, where high pressure over Scandinavia forces cold easterly winds across the continent. This can bring snow and ice to places that rarely see it, from the British Isles to Central Europe, disrupting travel and daily routines. With frigid Siberian air sweeping across the continent, normal weather patterns are upended. Cities from Paris to Moscow can experience sudden cold snaps, heavy snowfall, and biting winds, making it challenging for infrastructure and public services to keep up. The timing of these events matters. A sudden SSW in early winter could bring an early blast of cold before the holidays, affecting travel and festive plans, while also increasing heating needs. But, if a second SSW occurs later in the season, it could trigger a prolonged, severe outbreak of cold and snow, just when energy reserves are running low and people are least prepared, compounding the risks and challenges. The main message is clear: be ready for high-impact events. Even if the overall winter seems mild on average, these extremes can arrive suddenly, with little warning, and have outsized effects on communities, infrastructure, and daily life. Even during stretches of mild weather, it's important not to let your guard down. A single extreme event can define the season, so staying alert and informed is essential. The real risk lies in the extremes, not the averages. Preparation, whether it's stocking up on supplies, weatherproofing your home, or having an emergency plan, remains the key to staying safe and resilient, no matter what this winter brings. The defining feature of winter 2025-2026 will be volatility. While seasonal forecasts suggest a classic La Niña, the looming threat of a sudden stratospheric warming could upend everything for weeks at a time. One brutal cold snap can overshadow weeks of mild weather. The disagreement between major models underscores the uncertainty. As winter nears, we'll get a clearer picture, but the risk of extremes is real. The story this year isn't the average, but the wild swings. In a warming world, the Arctic's power to deliver shocking cold remains, and preparation is our best defense.